All right, folks, don't touch that dial. It's not on the wrong number. This is not the midday news. This is the two titans in real estate who you're going to recognize from your TV screen from not too long ago. So get ready for the next episode of Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, and I guess what? I have to guarantee it today. Man, this was like deja vu all over again, Trelvis. I just went back in a time capsule here.
Oh, yeah?
And I was
sure did.
I was thinking about, I'm watching like 2 channels mixed together. It's like we've got Channel 11 and Channel 8 in the house today, man.
Hey, I tell you this,
No,
though. You couldn't have
both.
2 better co-hosts today.
Okay, fine. Yeah, a little.
Well,
Yeah,
kind
a
of,
little.
right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
mostly Channel 11.
Exactly. So if you don't know who these ladies are, you must be new into town, but I'd love to introduce my guest today. Down on the end down there, certainly in her lovely pink today, is Julie Bologna. And
Can't miss me.
You can't miss her, that's right. All the way from Keller, that was where you reside now. And you may remember her as she was always the one bringing the cheery news about the weather and things like that. And we're so excited to have you. And
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to dive in and let people know what you're doing now. And also in the co-pilot seat, because she's been with us on the show before, is Maria Arita, is how you may remember her, Maria Arita-Howard, and she was Channel 11, right? And then you went to 33 for a while.
Yeah, it was first Channel 8, just some fill-in stuff. Good Morning Texas, then Channel 11, then CW 33.
Yeah. Well, you gotta share the love, right? You can't just
Exactly.
spend your whole career in one place. I mean, that's what it's all about. But I am super stoked to have these ladies on the show today. And for those of you in the audience who have always wondered, what's it like? You know, you guys have had the fame, you've had the camera, everybody knows who you are. I'm sure you still can't walk down the mall and people not recognize you and, stop you and want to say hello and maybe, get your autograph or whatever or something like that. But, how cool is that? And what you're doing now is just amazing. I mean, you guys are both extremely successful realtors, agents here in the local market. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to unpack a little bit about how you were able to assimilate all these skills throughout your life and then now translate them into a very successful real estate career. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I think what we should do first, though, is maybe give a little background so that our audience can get a kind of a personal attachment to you, shall we say. I mean, behind all the, the celebrity and the glam and the glitter, there's real people with families and so forth. So Julie, would you start out and just tell us a little bit about, I know you worked your way here from Pittsburgh, but tell us about you a little bit and your family and your background.
Well, if starting off in news, I mean, I've been all over the place, like you said, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, then I landed in Dallas, Fort Worth, where I met Maria, working at Channel 11, and then I moved back to Pittsburgh, then came back to Channel 8, so we do a lot of moving around.
I didn't know you went back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I went back there for a chief meteorologist position. And then as my kiddos started to get bigger, the news schedule got harder and harder to do. You're getting up at 1 in the morning to do morning news, you're coming home by, noon, and you can't keep your eyes open past 2 p.m., and you got 2 little boys at the time, running around. So for me, I got into real estate when I was working at Channel 8 part-time, just doing the weekends and fill-ins, because I had 5 days off during the week and I was bored out of my mind. I'm very much, a person that's got to keep busy. You can only go to the gym so many hours of the day. And so I decided to get my real estate license and never looked back. And then it just really took off. The last 6 months I was at Channel 8, I was also doing real estate. So I was literally getting up at 1 in the morning, working till about noon, and then came back, went right to an open house, trying to start, getting some clients, and would come home and just do it all over again the next day. And we did that for about about 6 months, and then the real estate took off, and I said, I had to say goodbye to TV because I was getting so busy, and never looked back. It just, when you start doing the work that you're supposed to do and follow the tips that you're given, the work will come. My kids are now 12 and 14. I have 2 boys, and they remember Mom. I would drag them in the studio, in the news, and now they're talking real estate, and who knows if they'll get into real estate someday? Who knows?
You got to be careful. It gets in the DNA.
Yeah, like with you.
It really does, right? Yeah. That's fantastic. And so you have moved. So you've bought and sold a few houses, right?
Yes.
And then, but you got your career going while you were. I mean, I guess working the weekends, that's considered full-time work, right?
Well, I was part-time.
Part-time? It is part-time?
And filling,
okay.
yeah. It was just 2 days a week. But there's a lot of people that maybe might be watching your podcast that maybe might have another career already, and they're like,
Right.
how do I transition? So for me, it was working, part-time, still holding on to some income, and then getting my testing done, getting my license, and then jumping in the arena, and then being able to let go.
And the reality, though, is that must have been really hard, though, right? Just that sort of runway between jumping from one runway to the other.
It was, but we have a lot of transferable skills, whether you're in news or maybe you're an accountant or maybe you are a school teacher. There's so many transferable skills that relate into real estate. You might be an executive and you're good at training people, coaching people, explaining things to people. And for me, I love meeting people. I never met a stranger. So that easily transferred into real estate. And being that we're in the news, they trust you to always do a good job. You have 6 million people, in my case, watching you for a forecast that could possibly affect the games, your work as a construction worker, getting to school, graduation. So you have a natural trust, and you're working hard, and deadlines, and a lot of those transferred. And so somebody watching may be asking the same thing. You'd be surprised what skills you have that will transfer.
Yeah. And I also want to point out, if you don't have your pen and your legal pad out, you need to get it now, because we had our first writer downer. Okay. The first writer downer was Julie said, I was working part-time and then went into real estate. And people ask me all the time, how do I make that transition from a full-time job to getting into real estate? Should I do real estate part-time? That's kind of like saying, well, I think I want to be a kidney transplant specialist part-time. Right? I mean, probably not a good idea. So what you did, which was going really headfirst into real estate and having the income from part-time from your other career, is really the way to do it. And so if you're in the audience wondering, that's why, in my opinion, after coaching agents for 12 years and being in the business too many years, is why you were able to make that transition, because some of it's about income replacement, but you still have to be full-time into real estate, baptized in the business, to be able to develop the skill set that you need. Contracts, showings, all of the things. Real estate is a lot of on-the-job training. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why you really got to be into real estate full-time.
And I think half the battle is just being confident in yourself to get out there and be a good realtor. And the way to do that is to be knowledgeable and to feel empowered, and the only way to do that is to study and study and study. So I'm sure you had a period of time there where that's all you did, and you had to really just bone up on all things having to do with real estate. So, when you first jump out there, it's a little bit scary, it's a little bit intimidating, but just like it was with broadcasting as well. I remember one thing that she got me into this, from the first place. And I'm a baby at this.
I just pull them all in.
Comparatively speaking, I've been in about a year and a half, but and I asked her a ton of questions about making that transition. She said all these same things, but the one thing she knew that I had to hear was, am I going to match my broadcast income? And she said, absolutely. I said, okay, I'm in. But what do I need to do? And she goes, you remember all that you did? Because the world of television and entertainment is extremely competitive. There is no more industry in the world more competitive than that. And only a handful of lucky few people, which we were blessed, get those kind of jobs, especially network level jobs, things like that. And she said, and in order to get there, in order to do that, you had to put in a lot of sweat equity, a lot of work, and you had to study a lot. And yes, journalism was a part of that, but it's really lifeism. And she said, you remember what you had to do to become even considered for a network level position? that was a 20-year in the making kind of thing.
Yes, your
I
very
said,
first
wow,
job.
yes,
your
I
very
did.
first
Right.
job,
Yeah,
and
what did you
whatever
have
it
to
is.
do?
Yeah,
So
whatever it was.
normally, don't they like put you out on the street beat where you got to go chase fires
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
car accidents and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
And then real estate, the same thing. They say,
Right.
here's a lockbox and a key. Now
Yeah.
go show your first home.
Right.
Right.
And then ask questions after.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's how you learn.
Yeah, you're always learning. You every single day you learn something new. Whether it's learning about new construction, how to get permits, flood certificates.
Okay, so
all that stuff.
let's drill down on that a little bit. So it's more about what I'm hearing here is it's about being resourceful. You've got to be able to identify the resources around you proactively and then know where to go find answers. You know, we have a saying in real estate, you don't have to be the source, but you need to be the source of the source.
Right.
In other words, if you don't tell somebody you have an answer when you don't, but it's okay to say, you know what, I don't have an answer, but I know who does, and let me get right back with
Well,
you.
that's one of the beautiful
It's perfect.
things that drove me to EXP. We were both with another broker and
Brand X.
moved over and Brand X, moved over at the same time.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I was having trouble with is agents get very busy. It's not that they don't want to help you most of the time. It's just that, a quick answer, and you need a more full-throated answer. And you just need help. And even Julie tried to help me so many times, but it was
And I'm always busy.
a day late or
Sure.
a few hours, hours
yeah.
short or
You
something.
need
Yeah.
you need an answer right away.
For
And
sure.
so what I really love about EXP is the world. So you saw a difference in me. When I first came in, I was asking you, peppering you with questions, but then I realized, wait, here there is a world. Wait a minute. It took a minute just for it to register and to have that impact on me to realize I do have a broker at my fingertips anytime, within reasonable business hours.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're there.
Yeah, because my other brokerage, you get your questions answered in the morning.
Right.
Like for an hour and a half in the morning, and then it was good. I'd have to show up in person or, maybe get an answer the day later. But it took me a while to get used to that world. I'm like, what do you mean I have to be an avatar? And I have to,
I know, me too.
But even
Right.
yesterday, I logged in and I was like, I had an accounting question, and I had 3 people answer me at the same. I went from one section to the other, and I was like, this is pretty good, even
Right.
though I was a little bit, standoffish at first. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's really it's maybe a little bit like learning. It's just a different thing. I joke a little bit because I'm probably at the age where I'm not going to be receptive to new changes and things like that. But
Set
I mean,
your ways,
I picked up the technology. I mean, I'm not I'm trying to stay hip and stuff. But my son is
You're really good at the
is-
technology.
Well, but
Right? He was
Yeah, look at all
FaceTiming
this.
live with us
but
before
here's the
this.
thing, wouldn't you agree, though, that the difference between hugely successful agents in the future and those that just have an average or below average career is going to be the use of technology? Wouldn't you
Well,
agree
I
with
did
that?
want to talk about that because absolutely. So that has changed dramatically even since we've been on the air. I mean, if I were to go back on the air again, it would be an entirely different paradigm. I'm fully aware of that. Supremely aware that anybody with an iPhone can have a show and can disseminate information.
Amen,
That's
yeah.
a little scary sometimes.
Yeah.
But knowing that, the number one thing that we need to be doing, I got sick.
That's right. I didn't know if that was public info or.
No, I mean, I don't mind.
She
I
posted
think
about it.
I posted about it, exactly.
I don't know how many, if you're friends or,
Oh, no.
if you're
I
not
mean,
one of Maria's friends, she wants to tell you something right now. Yeah.
I'm saying the heck a little bit.
I got COVID. So I got a super serious case of it, and that was back. I mean, I'm over a month done, and I've retested twice,
Thank
so you guys are
goodness.
Yeah.
absolutely safe
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is before I went in, so I started to develop a pipeline in January, and I did it through social media, and the best I could. I'm still trying to get better with the social media thing, but there are tricks and turns that you need to learn about social media, and it is, I mean, once you
It's
get
all
it, I'm sure.
analytics, too.
Exactly, just a whole new tool there. So in January, I started to do that. Little did I know, so now, I have my first custom home listing, since I came here to EXP, and thank you so much much, Cliff, because he's always had my back with that, and it was a whole new learning process. I really needed that. And so I started to build this pipeline, thank God. Do you know that 2 of those clients, I'm about to close on one next week, and the luxury one, they all knew that I had gotten sick. I was especially afraid about the listing home, because I have to be integrally involved and partnered with that home, that I was going to lose that client. But they said, we will wait for you, and you'll be okay in a month or a month and a half. Every other night they would call me, they would text me, they would say, are you okay? We're praying for you. And just,
She's going to get teary.
because it's very bizarre to have somebody that, I mean, these are clients, but I always say you're not selling real estate. For the first time, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is not sales. It's just a people business.
It's relationships.
It's relationships, and these are people. And sometimes they act the way they do because they don't know what we know, and sometimes they think they know, but they want to know, and they're just people, and they have these situations and twists and turns in their life. And this is a huge decision, So this client did that, and my buyer client, and my buyer client, the wife, is a registered nurse. So she was more texting me, and make sure that you take the oximeter and you put your finger.
Yeah. But I think that's perfect. What you're saying is you are selling real estate, the biggest purchase typically for someone's lives. But it's who they relate with and who they trust. Right. Because we're a dime a dozen out there, right? They could pick up the phone book if they have a phone book, or they could Google, a million different realtors. But what separates you? And it's usually trust and hardworking, and how are you relating to them, and good customer service.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those people that are thinking of transferring maybe into real estate, if you have those at your core, you will be successful.
Yeah,
that's right.
I just want to chime in on that for a second, because this is another writer downer, guys. Write this down, okay? So the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, does a survey every year, and they interview sellers, and the question they ask sellers is, why did you hire the agent that you hired to sell your home? Fair enough? Mm-hmm. So about 34% of the respondents, the seller said, well, we hired Julie because she's integrous, she's honest, and we trust her. Okay? That's number one. Number two, not far behind that, with something like 25% of the votes, was Julie came highly referred from a friend, a family member, or we'd used her in a past transaction. Okay, so that's well over half. And there were some other things that started, it dropped off precipitously after that. And when it got down to, we hired Julie because she had a balloon on her sign, or she had a red sign, or whatever it was, there was only three out of 100 that said that's the reason why they hired you. So here's the message, folks. People are not hiring a franchise when they hire you. They're hiring you. And what you said earlier about confidence, that's the number one thing that's going to get you hired, is if you're confident when you go on a listing presentation and you know your stuff.
You got to fake it till you make it, folks.
They're going to hire you every time. Well, rather than fake it, you need to fake it till you make it. But I'm saying, get the best mentor, get the best training that you can early in your career. Don't wait.
Don't fake too long.
Yeah.
No, what I mean is,
because you're just leaving so much on the table.
No, what I mean in terms of the confidence, you fake it until you make it in the beginning, because you're fresh and you're new and you're coming out of another industry. Right. So you have to be confident enough to know, they don't know this, or they don't know. I'm the expert. I studied real estate. I know something about this, and I'm going to be honest. And I genuinely care about what this family is going through. I want to go find out. I want to go hear the family out and get to know them. And that's not acting, but part of the fake it till you make it is just mustering that sense within you that allows you to just step forward without those little buggers in your stomach says, oh, I've got this. You've got this.
All right. So are you guys ready to drop some value now? Should we drop some value?
Let's go.
Okay, audience, some more writer downers coming at you right now. All right, what I want to do is I want you to think about, and I'm going to ask Julie to start. What is the single best piece of advice that you would give someone who just got their real estate license?
Be patient. Be patient, because some of the hardest things that you will encounter is just getting a client. and then getting a second client and a third client. But those first couple of ones are the hardest ones to get. And once you have a few under your belt, you're more confident. You know what to expect, how to get through closing, how to talk to the title company, how to relate to your client. And then before you know it, you have 10 clients, you have 20 clients, and you're into it a year, you're into it 2 years now. I think patience and hard work, but I can only answer one, so patience.
Okay, all right. That's fair.
That's a very
That's
good
fair.
one.
We can
Yeah.
hyphenate patience and then hard work and make
Okay.
it
I had very much difficulty with that one in the beginning.
All right. Do you want to add to that, or would you like another question? Because Julie answered it pretty well, but you have your own thoughts about it. What's the biggest single piece of advice that you would give someone who just got their real estate license?
Pick the right broker.
Pick the right broker.
That's a good one.
And
Not
mentor.
because the seller is going to hire you because of that, but because why? What do you mean? Tell us what you mean by pick the right broker.
What is the cultural environment there? How do they train you? How do you scale up from there? Who's going to be your mentor? Is there a mentorship? Is there regular training? But is there a regular also ongoing support? Because as a new agent, you're going to need it.
Okay. Let's start with culture here. Companies like Apple, Harley Davidson, people would lay down on a railroad track for their companies, right? Why is culture such a big deal? You're an independent contractor. What does it matter?
Because it's still a people business, and you still have to interact with other people out there, and you need to be able to have that sort of interaction within your culture where you can be a sounding board and hear from others as well who have come before you have. You never stop learning in real estate. I've finally figured that out. As much as I want to be an expert, there's always a situation that comes up. So that's the reason to me.
Okay. Great answers. Writer downers. What am I telling you? Okay.
Well, plus too, the culture is important because are they helping you to grow, or are they jealous because you got a new listing and they want it?
Right.
Does it come from scarcity?
That's what I meant by scaling up. Are they going to let?
Does it
My
come from
former
abundance?
broker was not helping me. I remember. I'll just say, I remember literally begging, trying to find someone I could talk to about. Well, I've got leads that I'm leaving on the table. I didn't get a chance to tell them that because I couldn't find someone that I could really just nail down long enough to help mentor me through that. I don't just need an answer. I need someone that's going to walk me through and say, wow, you got this going on? Let's do this. I just want to know the difference between a team and a group, and what are the remember I was asking you about it. What are the ramifications around it? What are the legalities around it? And how do I do this? Because I have a feeling I'm going to start to scale up. But then I moved over here, and then I got sick with the coronavirus, and a lot of changes happened. I did want to say, remember when I said early on in our conversation that one of the important things, you said it actually, and we all agree, social media, and just being, having that technical sort of savvy just at your fingertips, that you're constantly learning it up. So in January, I started to do that because I'd come with EXP, and we're virtual, and I had to get with this whole world thing and all that. I was still like, oh my God. I was still trying to figure it out. But I did, and then I got sick, and when I came out in April and started to drive around, I was still kind of in a fog, and I remember everything was shut down. It felt like I'd come out into the twilight zone in my the real world. And I was worrying and saying to myself, how am I going to get back up again? How am I going to build my business? Thankfully, I had those two clients. Otherwise, I'd be crying right now because I just felt so. You guys were there the whole time. I could feel you there in the darkness back if I needed to reach out to you that
Sure.
I could. But it was really a scary, scary time.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up another great point is, we just don't know what life is going to throw at us. And in this business, what happens when you get out of the field and you can't work? What happens to your income?
Yeah.
And the beauty about revenue share is that as you start to develop and help grow the brokerage, you don't have to worry as much about having money in between closings and things because you can start to generate money that eventually could even replace your transaction income. But there's that's one of the tough things about this business, it always has been, is because you are the CEO, you're the chief cook, bottle washer, everything about the business, right? And if you go down, the restaurant goes down. That's it. So to be able to have that security is something that has never existed. Trammell Crow did it in the 80s here in Dallas, but Keller Williams has some, a great profit share plan, but nothing that is significant as revenue share. That's really a whole different ballgame. So that's another great thing. All right, so that was a couple of writer downers there for sure. Let's talk about your businesses and your plans. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of drill down. You said that the illness set you back a little bit, but you still want to scale and grow. Where do you see yourself, Maria, in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, so I have some dreams that I said a year ago when I got into real estate I was absolutely going to do. So I want a couple of my own investment properties, and one before in a large body of water somewhere tropical.
With a drink in her hand.
With a drink in my hand. And to do that, I need to...
Aruba, Jamaica.
And that's a perfecto.
Roatan, maybe,
Mexico,
huh?
Roatan, which I'm from Honduras. So
right.
The thing is that I may not reach in those 2 years what I originally wanted to do, because I've had a transition, plus then I got sick. My husband... I almost lost him. And he's still he's kind of pumping back up again, but there's always that. So I may not reach broadcast paycheck level at
You
that
will.
point. I think I will. I would like to do that, but if not, I would like to be strong enough to be able to take that time that I want. We were talking about that earlier in the green room. She said, Maria, are you almost ready now to have to have that time? Just that I've paid my dues and I'm just going to relax a little. So I'm not going to relax a little for another couple of years, but I figure if I really hit it hard and strong and I have this kind of support around me, that I'll do it.
Well, but you keep moving your piece closer toward those goals of
Yes.
having time freedom, location freedom,
Yes.
and financial freedom, right?
I have a lot more time freedom now,
Yeah.
I think, and I'm still pressing on very
You're still
hard.
a grinder, yeah. You're still out there pushing hard, but
It's just
but
different,
a
because it's all virtual now.
right.
And
Are you enjoying this? Is it fun?
it's more fun for me now than it was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's anything.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, wow, that's incredible. Well, I know you're going to get there. I've been able to work alongside you here for long enough now to know that you've got the DNA to make
yeah.
7 figures a year. Well, that's not even a question in my mind. It's
From
just,
your lips to God's ears.
You listening? Yes. So, Julie, what about you? I mean, you're already just crushing it. I mean, you were telling me the volume that you're doing. Where do you go from here? What do you do?
Well, when I was where she was, or maybe where you are, you start thinking the same thing. And when your question, where do you want to be? I started thinking, yep, revenue share is one part of it. But where I would like to be is having some properties that are income producing, that when I walk away or I get sick or I can't work anymore, we still have income coming in.
Sure.
So we've started to do that. We've bought some VRBO properties, we've bought some rentals, we've bought commercial property, and so I have that, but I would like more. Right, just enough
Right.
to keep it going, and then the other aspect I would like to do is just continue to grow the business. Because one agent can only do so much. There's only so many hours in a day.
Right.
And so at that point, you start growing a team, which I had. I had a buyer's agent. I'd like to get back to doing something like that again. My questions always are, when you start to step away from it, you do maybe a little less real estate. So then you're more coaching and things like that,
Sure.
which I like doing as well. So I think it's a fine balance between the two, but doing more of that, and just being in the business long enough, you have agents that come up to you, much like you did in your other career. How do you do this? Or you have clients, I want to get into real estate. So then you start coaching a little more, and then you
Yeah.
bring them under. So I enjoy all of that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to continue.
I hear a common theme here, and really what it amounts to is, in real estate, when you start out, you're swapping time for money, your time for the client's money. But as you get further down the road in real estate, you've got to find a way to leverage your time. And you can do that a couple of ways. One is through implementing systems, and the other is by bringing people on board to delegate and leverage. Okay? So I think both of you, that's in your future. And I can see once you get to, and I'll tell you, I've seen it, and I've coached agents from 60 to 100 transactions. It's kind of the messy middle because that's where it involves. Now you go from being really good at your trade to now you got to become a manager and evolve into a leader. But remember, the income pyramid at the very top is leadership. At the bottom, you have to be good at your trade. Then you become a manager and you start making a little more money. But really, to get to the top and where you really start creating wealth is with leadership. And I think that both of you exhibit, without question, the talent and the skills. Just getting through that messy middle part and getting a team built up. But once you're there, you're going to have something that will continue to pay you dividends for the rest of your life, and then through a legacy for you. So those are great goals to have, and I'm excited to be, we're all partners here at EXP,
absolutely.
and excited to be working with both of you.
You know, there's something else that I do want to just make mention. I remember when I was in my training stages, and you get finished those first 30 days. I won't say what it's called, the classroom thing that we had to do. And then after that, you'd have speakers that would come up with all this energy, and they would say, "I want you to meet rock star so and so. They're jamming it out there. They're selling 40, 50 houses a month, and this one over here, sometimes 100 leads a month." And as a small little brand new agent, you're thinking, "Wow, I want to be like that." No, I really don't. I really don't want to do 50 a month. And to be honest with you, those are teams. Those are people. Nobody can do that by themselves. And so
right.
you have to decide. You may not want a team.
Yeah, you might want to stay
I
individual
don't.
agent.
I really don't. I just want to be an
Yeah.
individual agent. I want to, as an individual agent, get to a point where I can be selective. And I've already begun to be selective with clients, because I've discovered also that if I'm not, you can end up with some little lemons, where they won't listen, where they won't. It can
Sure.
be a catastrophe. I mean,
You have the power to choose.
you
who
have
can
the
work
power
well
to
with.
choose.
Yeah.
And I think that attitude has done something within my pipeline, because they seem to gravitate towards, that's the kind of confidence I'm talking about.
That's right.
That I finally have, which means I'm here to help you.
Right.
And you came to me.
Right. I mean, when you can look at somebody and honestly say, I'm turning down more listings than I'm taking because of unrealistic expectations,
And you're being honest.
and you're being honest with somebody,
Yeah.
and you start to walk out the door and they go, wait just a minute.
Absolutely.
You're the first person to be honest with me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Everybody else tried to buy the listing, and here you are telling me the truth.
Or you're the first
Right.
person that asked to, instead of meeting me somewhere, to come see our house and tour our house. Well, I want to get to know you. I want to know how you live and what you like, what you don't like.
Right.
And the other thing to bring up, when you are honest with your clients, like maybe the comps you're showing them are true, because I know agents they want the listing so bad.
Pencil
I
whip.
really want 500. but
Pencil
it's-
whip the scorecard there?
Yeah, but it's only
Yeah.
worth 475. Do you have the confidence to say this is all it is,
Yeah.
and possibly lose the listing? And the answer is you should. After a certain point, you have the confidence because there's
Otherwise, you're going to spend your money
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
list something
Well,
that's
dropping,
unsellable.
dropping.
Always do the right
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Always,
always,
yeah.
always
Always.
do the right thing. All right. So the right thing is, and I hate to say this, but we're
Out of
we're out of time. Did I tell you this was going
You
to go
talk
fast?
too much.
I do.
he couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Unbelievable. All right, so we're gonna, because Charles has got to go to lunch here, but one last thing, one word, just one word to the audience out there. One word. What is it? One word.
About real estate?
That's too many.
No, about real estate.
That's still too many.
Okay.
Why?
Why? Okay.
Oh goodness.
Put her on the spot.
I
didn't
know.
Yeah.
How about value?
Value. I love it. Okay. Your why is what?
Why are you doing this?
What's your why?
Yeah.
That's a great
What
question,
gets you out
guys.
there every
Think
day?
about that. Write her downer. And value.
What
Okay.
value are you going to bring to
Because
someone?
real estate is all about bringing value. Write her downer. Here you go. This is compliments of Julie. Price is an issue only in the absence of value.
That's right.
So go out there and deliver value. Guys, ladies, thank you so much
Thank
for being
you
on the
for
show.
having us.
Thank
My
you for
heart is
having-
warm. You guys are so wonderful, and it's so great to be here with you. And
This was
what a-
fun.
Yeah,
You
it
brought
was
us back
fun.
together.
Let's
We never
do it
would have done.
again.
We
Yeah.
never would have done this if he had.
No,
Yeah.
I
So
would have
we-
been like,
So my question is, will you do it again? Can
Yes,
we do this
sir.
again sometime?
Okay.
Love to.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk them into doing their own show, but we'll see. Here.
He really has.
Yeah,
You know.
but,
that's
anyway.
a whole nother thing.
Yeah, show these ladies some love if you're out there in Facebook land.
Thank you,
Hit the thumbs
guys.
up, hit
Thank
the heart,
you.
show us the heart, and we'll see you next time. Next week, we got another special guest for you on Cliff's Notes, but you got to tune in to see it. So we'll see you next week.
thank you.